Today in the podcast, I am joined by Kenia Miramontes. Kenia is the founder and CEO of Kalon Skin Studio in Texas. After suffering with skin issues for 12 years, Kenia started Kalon Skin Studio in 2018 to help people get the skin that they deserve. Kenia has a dual license in massage therapy and aesthetics with 10 years experience. She's also a certified dermatologica expert and pure sculpt specialist. Kenia's Kalon Skin Studio specializes in clearing acne, reducing acne marks, evening out the skin tone, and just overall resurfacing skin. Their goal is to ensure that you experience a treatment where not only you glow afterward, but where you achieve bliss. They believe when you feel good, you'll look good. And who doesn't love that? Kenia, thank you so much for being on the podcast. Welcome. How's it going?
Hi, Jeffrey. Thank you so much for having me. I am honored. I am well. How are you?
Doing very well and thrilled to be chatting with you. So let's just kick it off. Tell us about yourself. How did you get started in the beauty industry? Did you know that you were going to be opening up your own skin studio? Talk to us about that.
Oh my gosh, it's been such a journey. And as I sit down sometimes and think about how I got here. So when I was really young, I actually would extract blackheads and tweeze out hairs from my grandpa's ears. And so when I think about it, I'm like, you're kind of already born with what you're going to do, you know? But I actually, when I was in school, I wanted to do criminal justice. So it kind of really didn't hit me until later on in life where I started connecting the dots and I was like, hey, I like extractions. Did that when I was 7 years old. Okay, kind of makes sense. So I jumped around a lot. I actually wanted to do criminal justice. Then I thought maybe a psychology. Then I went into business management and then I ended up in massage. So once I was in massage, I kind of figured, okay, I like the industry. This is what I want to do. A happy medium for physical therapy. That's originally that was my next thing that I wanted to do.
Okay, it's making sense.
Yeah, I didn't want to do 10 years of college. So I was like, okay, massage is going to be my happy medium. And I knew I wanted to help people. When I was a massage therapist, my clientele base were kids with disabilities. And so I knew I had that very nurturing, very giving sense to myself, and I loved it. And struggling with acne was always a back and forth. Was doing medication, would go to doctors. And so I kind of just pieced both together. And I figured, why not? Why not complement this massage license, steer into this direction? I love helping people. I struggle with acne. Let's figure out what's going on so I can go clear myself and then go repeat that with everybody else. So to answer your question, yes and no.
That's amazing. I feel like that's the honest take. So we really appreciate that. I mean, I feel like it's rare that people know exactly, but also there's signs along the way that sort of point you on your path. And that sounds exactly like when you put those pieces together, what's happened. Talk to us a little bit about, starting where you had with massage therapy and working with children with disabilities is so noble and beautiful. Sort of bridging these two things in your current career, what's the proudest moment to date?
It definitely showed me a lot. It helped me grow on a personal level. I saw these kids, and they're kids who are nonverbal. It's kids who also don't have a lot of mobility. And so when I would show up to their house to provide their therapy, they were always happy every day, no matter their circumstance, what they were going through. They just always laughed. They always had a smile on their face. And here we are, right, with all of our abilities, and all our limbs are functioning perfectly fine. And we're so caught up in this stress and this craziness in the world. And yet they're over here smiling and laughing, you know? And so it really taught me a lot in that sense. It helped me grow tremendously. And it also taught me to be very patient, because you have to have patience to work with kids. So I feel like it kind of prepped me for the journey that I was going to take on as an entrepreneur, because you need a lot of patience and you also need to grow personally. So it takes a lot of pivots. You definitely do have to put in the grind, and it's a roller coaster. So I think it really helped kind of ease into that. And it's been a great journey.
Oh, we love that. Again, you're setting this up in such a way where maybe I want to become an entrepreneur, but let's maybe complicate that a bit. Talk to us about what it's really like to own your own business. So it's one thing to be working for someone else, coming in, working your hours, by. It's another thing to have your own space with your own employees. So talk to us about that experience. Like when you made the flip, when you decided to open up your own, how did that go?
Yeah, so I've actually done both. I have worked for someone as a massage therapist and as an esthetician.
Mhm.
And so I did that first, and then I went out and branched out. So with massage therapy, because I was an independent contractor, I kind of got to run my own show.
Yep.
Didn't really have anybody I had to report to other than paperwork. So it kind of started, like I said, a massage and working with the kids, it kind of started prepping me. So I took over my scheduling, all of that good stuff. I took over. And so when I started going for aesthetics, I did work for a company, got some experience, got to see how the flow was like. And I also had worked for a chiropractor as a massage therapist. So I kind of already had the idea. Um, I did not come from a business background though. Having the idea of running one is not the same as actually going into one. So that was fun. It has definitely been a journey, like I said, a roller coaster. I would not trade it for anything in the world. There is days where I would feel that everything I did was amazing. And then there was days where everything just went to shit. Like, it's like, do I even want to do this anymore? Is this really for me? Why don't I just like go back and just work somewhere? It's hard. So let me tell you a little bit about like how I even ended up in Houston.
Yeah.
I'm not originally from Houston. I come from El Paso. So I came here with no clients. I knew absolutely no one. We have no family here. And then I got the brightest idea, let me start a business. So when I'm saying like this was fun, it was because not actually fun. So I started this studio. I was working the massage part with the kids to be able to fund this studio for 6 months because I had no clients.
Mhm.
So that's when you really get pushed and you really get to see what you're made of, because starting a business where you know absolutely no one and you got to go out and find complete strangers to be your client, that's a whole other ball game. So it's been that, and now I look back and I'm like, I did that. Like I really did that. And so it's been an amazing journey to be able to do that. The point of opening up the studio obviously was to be able to help more people. I expanded this last year in April. And I had a small studio for 2 years. So we were in those salon suites. You're familiar with those, or just a lot of hairdressers in there? Yeah. So we were in there, started very small, and then started building up clientele within the 2 years. I knew I was ready to move. I didn't want to stay in a room. I knew I wanted something bigger. And because I like hosting events, that was going to be perfect. So we went into this building where we have 4 rooms. We have a reception area, we have a break room, everything that I wanted. And so we were able to do that in the middle of the pandemic.
Congratulations. That's no small feat. I mean, like truly not to be underscored, like crazy to expand in this climate. So talk to us a little bit about that specifically. Like, massage therapy, aesthetics, it's a high touch career. So we know sort of the salon pros experience in terms of hairstylists and colorists, et cetera, and the shutdowns. How was your business impacted? Because again, you had started in 2018. This pandemic rolls around. We'd love to hear about that.
Yeah, so it was definitely a scary time. The beauty industry was just unpredictable. We didn't know what was going to happen. We did shut down for about 2 months. I actually had to furlough my employee at the time because we didn't know where we stood with clientele at that time. And so all of this was happening in the middle of me already planning wanting to expand. So definitely we had to pivot. We shut down for 2 months. So then I started focusing on online. We started selling skincare facials to go. And so we would deliver them. I would go take them out to USPS and ship these little boxes out for people to do facials at home. And then I would send a PDF over with instructions. Okay, you use your cleanser this way and this and that. And so we were able to at least provide that glowy skin to people at home since they couldn't come in. And so we got through that. May rolled around. We were able to open back up. That time it was just me again because I had to furlough my employee. So it was just me again. It was a little rough within the summer. By the time fall hit, we were up and running again. People were feeling a little bit more comfortable. This studio, I think what helped my clients feel comfortable is we've always been very clean. And so when they see that already, then they're not worried about cleanliness when this type of thing hits, right? And
Totally.
so thankfully, a lot of our clients were able to come back. As far as expecting new clientele, that did slow down a little bit, right? Because you don't have that trust yet with them. So it did take a little bit to build back up. I want to say within September to about December is when we really started seeing that growth again. Then rolls around January 2020, I was already looking into a new space. And then April hit and we were ready to move in. So it was rough, but it caused me to pivot. It caused me to think of other ways to generate income and to move that business forward.
Love that. Talk to us. I mean, you mentioned it a little bit just a few moments ago about how social you are as a business, and that this space allowed you, with the different spaces therein, to do something which we love, which is the spa party. So talk to us about a spa party. What the heck is it? What do you do? Break it down for us.
Yeah, so a spa party is basically you grab you and your besties and you're renting out our whole studio. So it's just you. There's no interaction with other clients. So it's just you and your friends. So what we did is we actually did a collaboration. These are collab spa parties. So we have one of our friends does tablescapes. She comes and set up this beautiful table decor where all the food looks pretty. There's flowers. And so it's just so inviting. There's wine. There's a virtual photo booth. So while you and your friends are mingling in our back room, one by one is going in for their facial as well. So it's a full-on experience. You're getting facials, but you're also getting time with your girls. So we wanted to make it to where it was just a full day of just that beauty and connecting. And we really wanted to do this to give a chance for everybody to just connect again, because there's people that didn't see each other for a year or two during the pandemic. So we were seeing events and, weddings start back up again. And so we figured, why not? They're already having bachelorette parties anyway. Why not have them do it here?
I want to go to one now, the way that you've set this up. How did the idea come about? I mean, it sounds like, again, you're an entrepreneur. It doesn't surprise us that you're thinking through these different, exciting, creative ways to engage with your customers. But this is kind of different. This is a bespoke experience that you're talking about. So how did this come about?
I've always liked events. I've actually hosted pop-ups. I have I did a huge grand opening. And so events have always been in the back of my mind. And so I knew that I wanted to do something with that space in the back. And it's one of our biggest rooms. And it just, one day I was like, what are we going to do with this room? It's too big for, an esthetician to work out of. It's way too big for me to have an entire office here. Like, what are we going to do? And I was like, why not spa parties? We can host 6 to 8 people here, have them mingle, and we pull one by one into the other treatment rooms. Let's do it. They rent out the whole space, and that's how the idea came about.
So fun. In terms of how much of the business is sort of catering to these parties, is it a big chunk? Is it something that you would suggest maybe that other spa studio concepts consider across the country?
Yeah, absolutely. So because they are renting our entire space, given our space, it has 4 rooms and a reception, right? So we don't have the ability to have more traffic coming in and out. So they end up just renting out the whole thing. You're building that as a package. So you're obviously covering your day, covering your time as if you were still seeing clients throughout those times, right?
Yep.
So absolutely, it's a good extra income that we don't do it for more than 2-3 hours. Our spa parties are quick. We're doing facials every 30 to 40 minutes. So our packages are built to run express facials, 2 to 3 hours that you're here, you're ready to go, you leave glowing, you had fun with your girls, and you're all set. Yeah.
Oh, I mean, it's like a win-win for everybody.
Yep.
That's sounds pretty perfect. All right, talk to us about the glowing skin then. You think, rightly so, that skin is important. We think that skin is important. We all want to look our best. What can people who don't know much about skin do to help their own?
Yeah. So the basics are always going to be, wash your skin, cleanse your face, don't sleep with makeup. The top tips that I can give is definitely always double cleanse, especially if you're wearing makeup. So you use your oil cleanser to break up SPF.
I'm taking notes.
Yeah. So oil cleanser will break down your SPF. If you're an oily type, don't be scared because oil attracts oil. Not to the point where it's going to dehydrate your skin. It's just gonna take off all the excess. It breaks down makeup, it breaks down mascara. So you want to let that, it's kind of like you sweep before you mop. So oil cleanser is your sweeper, and then you go in with your regular cleanser. And a lot of misconception about toner is you use it to take off what your cleanser didn't. Not necessarily, because then that means you didn't wash correctly.
You heard it here, folks.
So your toner is actually meant to bring and balance your pH level back to normal. When the pH level in your skin is off, then that's when that bacteria starts to brew. That's when we start having a lot of dehydration, rosacea, redness. So that toner is meant to bring just everything back to normal. And then you go on with your moisturizer and SPF. Keep it simple. Those little simple tricks are going to obviously help the glow and help enhance your skin. And don't forget to wash your sheets. You'd be amazed at the amount of clients that I ask, how often do you wash your sheets or your pillowcases?
I know where you're going with this.
Yeah. And we don't think about that, especially for us women that we don't wash our hair on a daily basis. We're bringing back all that debris onto our pillow and we're sleeping on it. And then we're wondering why we're breaking out. So wash your sheets.
Wow. Yes, gang. If you needed a reminder, now is the time. I feel like we've covered this, but I mean, are there any other sort of trendy things or like just completely wrong information that is out there that is popular that you wish people wouldn't do?
Oh my God, hundreds. Everything you're seeing on TikTok. No.
Wow. Let's go. Let's break it on down for us, Kenia.
So the microneedling rollers were a very big thing a while back ago. We are very against that. Just the way that it punctures the skin. There's some research that's been done. Instead of it actually like just puncturing straight through what you would see with a professional microneedling device, it's kind of rolling, picking up the skin and then letting go. So you're having a hole with a kind of like a little drag. And so those, I would say anything that it's more on the corrective side, anything that is more just things that you should be getting done at an esthetician, don't do at home. Leave the Amazon peels alone. Leave the rolling microneedling devices alone. I've seen a lot of there's this like clay thing that they put on TikTok, like on their chin, on their nose, and it supposedly brings up all the blackheads. It doesn't work that way. I wish. Do you know how many people I would save from tearing during extractions if that were true?
Mm-hmm.
I wish it existed that way. It doesn't, unfortunately. So I would say always get your tips from your esthetician. A lot of us are on Instagram. Follow estheticians, listen to their tips, skip all the TikTok trends of people that are just buying something that works for them, because not everybody's skin is the same. I had a client who would tell me she would put Vaseline on her skin and she had the most gorgeous skin. But it's to say that I can't go and do that as an acne prone. I can't do that. And I honestly don't recommend anybody to do it. But the fact that she did it, had beautiful skin, it was more of genetics. It was more of her skin is not as, is more tolerant to things than others.
Sure.
So always get your tips. I was like, where am I going with this? Always get your tips from your esthetician.
Makes perfect sense. And is a beautiful segue into, you mentioned so many estheticians are on Instagram. Kenia, where can people find you? Because we want them to get in touch with you. You're the expert. So plug your Instagram for us.
Yeah, absolutely. So we are Kalon Skin Studio, and you can find us there.
Easy enough. All right. Before we wrap this lovely conversation on the Volume Up podcast, we've got our quick takes. These are the questions we ask of every single guest. And we want to get started real quick with the first question, which is bar soap or body wash? As an esthetician, which is it and why?
I would say body wash. So bar soap tends to have more of an unbalanced pH and a little more stripping, leaves behind residue. So I like body wash.
Okay. We like that for everybody that's listening.
Yeah.
All right. So we talked about how you as an entrepreneur expanded your business during the pandemic, which is not true of everybody. Let's be honest. A lot of people had a lot more time on their hands and streaming went through the roof. So we asked all of our guests, what are you streaming right now? Because we're all looking for something else to consume.
As far as like shows and stuff,
shows, movies, podcasts, like just whatever you got, we'll take it. We're not going to choose too much here.
Yeah. So I just finished WandaVision on Disney. What else? It just showed up that now you can watch all the Marvel movies in order. So that's where they got me. Because I've seen all of them and I'm like, I don't understand like how everything is connected, right? So I was like, why not start from the beginning? So we are currently on Iron Man 2 right now. So we just started.
You're rocking my world. I'm one of those people that's like, I know this connects somehow, but I've also been like, I'm not gonna, that's an investment. But now it's done for me. So I'll look into that. I'm assuming Disney Plus. Let's make it happen.
Yep.
Amazing. Okay. What is one product that you cannot live without? Just one. Me too.
Our cleansing oil.
Okay. Is it a Kalon Studio exclusive product?
Yes.
Okay. All right. Where can people find it? Why should they buy it?
So they can find it on our website, which is kalonskinstudio.com. And like I said, like I was explaining earlier, oil attracts oil, breaks up the SPF, breaks up the makeup, gives you that sweep before you mop. And it smells amazing.
We love that. We're a sucker for scent here. So that is what we want to hear too. And we will make sure that we're going to plug all of your socials, all of your websites in the show notes. So don't worry about that. Last question that we've got. Advice for those who want to make it to the top of our industry. So we've got estheticians, we've got hairstylists, hair colorists, everybody that's listening to this podcast. They're all sort of thinking through, and they want to hear from people like yourself. What does it take to get to the top?
Oh, you got a lot of commitment and don't give up. Remind yourself of why you're doing this. If you have to write it in a whiteboard or a sticky note or whatever, look at it every day. Do so because you will be tested. There is times where, like you heard earlier in the show, I was ready to give up. The pandemic hit and I was like, how am I going to do this? How am I going to make this work? So remind yourself of why you're doing it. Be very clear on your why. Don't give up. Put in the work and Social media. Social media is how I grew Kalon Skin Studio. That's how I built a business. So don't underestimate the power of it. Use it to your advantage. It doesn't have to be perfect. It's a good way for you to showcase your work, because now it's like a visual portfolio that people access. And so use it because that's how a lot of us have built our businesses.
Love that. And I'm sure that our audience is going to be super appreciative. So are there any people that you follow that are either like fellow estheticians, maybe your own colleagues, people that are out there that are doing things in your space that you feel like our audience should know about that maybe they don't?
Yeah, so definitely, if you're an esthetician that is needing like more of the business tips and stuff like that, you cannot go wrong with Spa Strong. You are familiar with Royal Melissa, and also Daniella Warner with Auto Aesthetics. The amount of value that they provide is amazing, and that's how I actually learned about business, was through free mediums. So YouTube, audiobooks, podcasts, and I took that and I was able to kind of put it to work. So there's a lot of free resources. If you are looking more into the coaching of a business, definitely those would be my top two.
Oh, that was perfect. Not everybody's got a response for that one. So that was incredible. That's exactly what our audience is going to want to hear.
Yeah.
And again, we'll link out to them. So thank you for that.
Yeah.
Dr. Pimple Popper, what are your thoughts?
I love her. Do you know she has a game? You know she has a pimple popping game?
No.
Yes, it's like this silicone square that's supposed to be like the skin, right? And then you fill in the little holes with the cream that they give you, and you literally go pop and it just like oozes out.
Whoa. You're rocking my world. I'm going to go look into, I had no idea. I mean, good for them. They're just raking in cash.
Yeah.
Oh my God.
It's so crazy. So we actually went viral on TikTok because of extraction videos. That's all we were posting on TikTok. And it's so crazy the amount of people that are obsessed with things like that. And lucky for us, we get to see it on a day-to-day basis.
I was just going to say, no shortage of content. Do people come in because of TikTok? Have you had like conversion because people see extraction, or is it more just like awareness? They're like, oh my God, and they follow you?
A little bit of both, but mostly the awareness. Yeah.
Cool. No, I mean, that's incredible. Again, like, that's,
yeah,
it's just so interesting to me in terms of when we're talking with folks about like, what are different tactics that work. And it's like what you said, like no skin is the same, no products work exactly, like no platforms are exactly the same for everybody. And, you know, you just got to figure it out for yourself, basically.
Yeah. I mean, you got to try everything because, so let me tell you a little story. We actually lost our main Instagram account in October. We don't know what happened. All of a sudden, all logged us out. We were never able to log in, send emails, send a bunch of selfies of myself.
No, they don't.
We got like 10 selfies. I was like, what do I got to do to get my account back? You know, do we got to show a little cleavage? Like, what is it going to take? And it took us about maybe a month and a half to get it back. And we were just lucky. Yeah, but we were lucky enough because we knew someone at Facebook. Other than that, they would have never given it back to us.
Nope.
And so it's, I wish I would have mentioned it. It's another thing that we had to do. We had to pivot. I had to start a whole new account for almost 2 months where nobody knew where we were. We couldn't connect with their previous clients because a lot of DM action goes down when it comes to booking appointments, right?
Oh, for sure. Yep.
And so it was just like, what is happening right now? And it was one of those things where I like reevaluated my life and I was like, do I really want to keep going? Because this is how I built my business. So you have to use all your mediums, because when one goes away, you have the others. And thankfully we started an email list. I learned that very early on and we survived, but you have to use everything.
Oof. Well, I'm so happy for you. This was great. I'm glad that we were able to connect. Again, as I said, like we've not actually talked to an esthetician before on the podcast. So that's a lot of fun.
I'm very honored.